Welcome to Crazy Shit in Real Estate, a weekly podcast where I walk you through some of the wildest, most unbelievable stories you'll hear from the world of real estate. If you like real estate and you love crazy, this is the podcast for you. Before we get any further into this episode, I've got some information to share.
Oh, it's true. Real estate is super competitive and harder than you expected. That's why I created Leigh University. It's everything you need to take you from point A to point whatever your goal is. You could be new to the business or a seasoned vet. I'll help you break through to the next level so that your professional life can look exactly like you desire. Enroll in Leigh University today. I'll help you get there.
If in general you're in love with somebody and you're planning to go buy some real estate, which is for most people your largest financial transaction and
ever,
it's only going to get more expensive over time, what do you tell them to ask? What should they consider? How can they title things from the get-go if they're not married? Is there something that's a general set of guidelines people could follow?
Yeah. So the first thing is go talk to an attorney. Right?
A real estate attorney, right?
Well, you could do a real estate attorney, or family law attorneys might also be a good solution too, because they're used to doing prenups. So for unmarried people, you're looking at a cohabitation or a co-ownership agreement, which is going to say, okay, Leigh, you're contributing $20,000. Rebecca, you're contributing $20,000. We're both putting $20,000 into the purchase of this property. If our relationship ends, and you and I could just be friends buying an investment property, right? Or we could be
beach houses together, mountain
right.
houses,
You could be two families that are buying the beach, the beach house together. Whatever it is, you can have a co-ownership agreement that says, this is what happens when our relationship ends. I get my $20,000 out plus whatever, anything improvements that I did, payments towards the mortgage, whatever you guys want to work out. And you can also identify what are the triggering events. Like, what is it that can get me out of it? Right? Maybe you relocate to the other side of the country and you don't want to own this piece of property anymore. Okay. So you can negotiate anything into that and do it before you buy the house. That way, the second you own it,
contract probably, right? So,
well, if that's what you're considering, yeah, do it either right before or during the process so that you have everything the second you close, everybody knows what's what. Right. So that's one part of it. The other part of it is, how do you own the property? For people who aren't married, there's really only two ways that you can own it: tenants in common or joint tenants. And they have two very different outcomes. Joint tenants, if one of you dies, the other person owns the whole property all by themselves, which means if you just bought this sweet ass investment property or anything and there's equity in it, your family gets nothing.
Right? So regardless of each individual will, this lives outside of
it
in the States.
Yeah. One of my favorite phrases in real estate law is title drops like a rock. So the second you drop, your title drops, right? So if you have joint tenancy, it's joint tenancy with the right of survivorship, meaning the other person or other people basically absorb your interest. And that's it. The other side is tenants in common, which means if you die, whoever inherits it based on either your will, your trust, or the state, because if you don't plan, that's another conversation we can have. Not planning. Someone's gonna decide who's gonna own that property with your other partner. So there are things to consider. And in California, nobody's talking to anybody about how to hold title. They get a one-page form from their escrow or settlement company that has all of the different options, and they say check the box.
Seriously? That's all they're getting?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty frightening.
It is. Yeah, I mean, they bury in their escrow instructions, consult an attorney, but it's buried there and nobody's actually telling anybody, go talk to an attorney about this. Because this is where we get to talk about your whole life matters to this. Because if you've got kids from another relationship, whatever, like we got to get your estate plan in order too.
So let me ask you a question about this. Yeah. A lot of people hear this and they're thinking, okay, I can get my money out. The market keeps going up. Markets don't go up forever. You've been in the business long enough to know that we are always going to be thinking about the fluidity of the market. So what if somebody owns a property together. They put those little rules in place where one of them wants to separate and get their money back out, but the market has declined. What happens then? Does the person who's left with it, they still have to pay them out at the same rate, or how do these things work? 'Cause I think that's a big opportunity for trouble that people aren't considering right now because we've been going up for the last
right, because we've been going up, 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 up. Right. But if you go back, like look at 2008, let's just pretend 2008 happens again, right?
Oh, you're enjoying this little clip? Well, the rest of the story is available on any of your podcast apps. Just go search for and subscribe to Crazy Shit in Real Estate with Leigh Brown.